the controlled flow of electrons, making possible laptops, phones, cars, and pacemakers. Batteries, just like everything in life, is just chemistry. Kind of chemistry happening inside the battery is called electrochemistry because it involves reaction that produce or consume free electrons. Specifically, they are the oxidation, reduction, or redox reaction where the electrons are exchanged. Now, when the flow of electrons in these reactions are sent through a conductor, like a piece of metal, it can be used to do all sorts of work. Like for example, this kind of work. The amount of work that can be done depends on how strong the push or pull on electrons is between the two reactants. This is the reaction's electrical potential, but to its friends, it's known simply as voltage. Basically, if the voltage is high, each electron can do a lot more work than if the voltage is low. Many of the wonderful things in our modern lives are based on one simple premise: putting a device between the two halves of just such a reaction. By harnessing that energy, a lot of the coolest things you've done today up to now has been made possible.
ProudMusicLibrary.com.
Electrochemistry. Electrochemistry deals with the chemical changes produced by electric current and with the production of electricity by chemical reactions. Many metals are purified or plated onto jewelry by electrochemical methods. Digital watches, automobile starters, calculators, and pacemakers are just a few devices that depend on electrochemically produced power via batteries. Corrosion of metals is also an electrochemical process. We learn much about chemical reactions from the study of electrochemistry. The amount of electrical energy consumed or produced can be measured quite accurately. All electrochemical reactions involve the transfer of electrons and are therefore oxidation and reduction reactions. The sites of oxidation and reduction are separated physically, so the oxidation occurs at one location and reduction occurs at the other. Electrochemical processes require some method of introducing a stream of electrons into a reacting chemical system and some means of withdrawing electrons. In most applications, the reacting system is contained in a cell, and an electric current enters or exits by electrodes. We classify electrochemical cells into two types. Number 1. Electrolytic cells. Electrolytic cells are those in which electrical energy from an external source cause non-spontaneous chemical reactions to occur. Number 2. Voltaic cells. Voltaic cells are those in which spontaneous chemical reactions produce electricity and supply it to an external circuit. Electrical conduction. Electric current represents transfer of charge. Charge can be conducted through metals and through pure liquid electrolytes, or solutions containing electrolytes. The former type of conduction is metallic conduction. It involves the flow of electrons with no similar movement of the atoms of the metal and no obvious changes in the metal. Ionic or electrolytic conduction is the conduction of electric current by the motion of ions through a solution or a pure liquid. Positively charged ions migrate to the negative electrode, while negatively charged ions move toward the positive electrode. Both kinds of conduction, ionic and metallic, occur in electrochemical cells. Electrodes. Electrodes are surfaces on which oxidation or reduction half reactions occur. They may or may not participate in the reactions. Those that do not react are called inert electrodes. Regardless of the kind of cell, electrolytic or voltaic, the electrodes are identified as follows. The cathode is defined as the electrode at which reduction occurs, as electrons are gained by some species. The anode, on the other hand, is the electrode at which oxidation occurs, as electrons are lost by some species. Each of these can either be positive or negative electrodes, depending on the cell type.
A simple way to remember the name of the electrode that is doing the reduction is to think about a red cat. That is, Reduction always occurs at the cathode. The electrolysis of molten sodium chloride or the down cell. Solid sodium chloride does not conduct electricity. Its ions vibrate about fixed positions, but they are not free to move throughout the crystal. Molten or melted sodium chloride, however, is an excellent conductor because its ions are freely mobile. Consider a cell in which a source of direct current is connected by wires to two inert graphite electrodes. They are immersed in a container of molten sodium chloride. When the current with a high enough voltage flows, it is observed that a pale green gas, which is chlorine, Cl2, is liberated at one electrode. Another is that a molten silvery white metallic sodium Na forms at the elder electrode and floats on the top of the molten sodium chloride.
Voltaic or galvanic cells. Voltaic or galvanic cells are electrochemical cells in which spontaneous or product-favored oxidation reduction reactions produce electrical energy. The two halves of the redox reactions are separated, requiring electron transfer to occur through an extended circuit. In this way, useful electrical energy is obtained. Everyone is familiar with some voltaic cells. The batteries commonly used in flashlights, portable radios, photographic equipment, and many toys and appliances are voltaic cells. Automobile batteries consist of voltaic cells connected in series so that their voltages add. The construction of simple voltaic cells. A half cell contains the oxidized or reduced forms of an element or other more complex species in contact with one another. A common kind of half cell consists of a piece of metal immersed in a solution of its ions. Consider two such half cells in separate beakers. The electrodes are connected by a wire. A voltmeter can be inserted into the circuit to measure the potential difference between the two electrodes, or an ammeter can be inserted to measure the current flow. The current is the result of the spontaneous redox reactions that occurs. The circuit between the two solutions is completed by a salt bridge. This can be any medium through which ions can slowly pass. A salt bridge can be made by bending a piece of glass tubing into the shape of a U, filling it with hot saturated salt and 5% agar solution and allowing it to cool. The cooled mixture sets the consistency of firm gelatin. As a result, the solution does not run out when the tube is inverted, but the ions in the gel are still able to move. A salt bridge serves three functions. 1. It allows electrical contact between the two solutions. 2. It prevents mixing of the electrode solutions. And 3. It maintains the electrical neutrality in each half cell as ions flow into and out of the salt bridge. The zinc-copper cell. Consider a standard cell made up of two half cells. One, a strip of metallic copper immersed in 1 mole copper to sulfate solution, and the other, a strip of zinc immersed in 1 mole zinc sulfate solution. This cell is called the Daniell cell. The following experimental observation has been made about this cell. Number 1, the initial voltage is 1.1 volts. Number 2, the mass of the zinc electrode decreases. The concentration of zinc 2+ increases in the solution around the zinc electrode as the cell operates. Number 3, the mass of the copper electrode increases. The concentration of Cu2+ decreases in the solution around this electrode as the cell operates.
ProudMusicLibrary.com